All right, our new segment this week is Caught Offsite. It's a segment where we're going to tell stories from our workplaces that have occurred outside the workplace, Kush.
Wild.
Hence, Offsite.
Wow.
Yeah, we're thinkers over here.
Thank you for explaining.
No worries. So I've got a couple to start us off this week. All right, my first story is from one of my first jobs when I was back at Vodafone, and it was our Christmas party. My mate tried his best to get fired that night. So it was at the Ivy, the Christmas party was, and I worked famously in the retail store where I got my manager fired, played on the iPads all day. Just really was not the ideal employee. But anyway, that's in the past. I've changed now.
To any employees listening.
Prospective employees listening. So we were in the retail side, and then our Christmas party it had all basically the dribblers from the retail stores came together with the head honchos, the white collar corporate criminals, the suits from the head office, and they all merged together in this melting pot of debauchery at the Ivy, which, is the home place of debauchery, really. So we had the whole Ivy booked out, and the drinks were flowing, Kush. Like, it was beers, wines, and those were free, and if you wanted to pay, you could get spirits. And obviously, after a few beers and wines, you're like, I don't want to drink this anymore, so you start buying spirits. And it was on a Thursday night, and actually half our team had to work the next day. So I was one of the sad losers who had to work the next day. So I'm like, all right, I'll take it easy. So I was just nursing a few beers, but obviously the other half of the team who weren't working the next day were letting loose, as they should. So they were drinking as much as they could, and they were basically mingling with the other store people, which is fine, like the other retail stores, but they were getting loose as well. And basically they were just, making out with each other, dancing, doing other nefarious things, which I won't name here. And that's all fine because we kept with our own. The problem started was when we started mingling with the corporate head honchos. And the problem is you could absolutely tell the divide of who was the degenerates and who were the more, classier, corporate people.
Yep.
And so obviously maybe halfway through the night, maybe 3/4 of the way through the night, that's when, people just started to mix and they opened up the dance floor and you're, messing with these people essentially.
Commoners could,
Exactly.
mingle with the upper class.
And my friend in particular saw this as this is quote unquote, he saw this as a networking opportunity. So this bloke, about 10 beers deep, starts going up to random people who are obviously from like HR or legal. And he was going up and he had a business card as well, like retail sales associate. He was going up, putting his hand around people like, hey mate, I'm from the Hornsby store, and started giving his cards. It's like, give me a call.
What's on the card?
He just said his name, title, and then his number. That's all it said.
Is this an official card?
Yeah, it was an official card.
So it's branded. It's got
Branded. And he was just going around, like, basically passing around to people, talking to people. And there's one in particular, we were leaving, like, towards the end, we were leaving, and we were about to leave. I'm like, where is he? We haven't seen him. Like, we saw him, like, disappear into the crowd, and that's it. And I'm like, oh, well, not my problem anymore. And, like, our team, as a team, we were going to leave together, and we were walking out. And then I see him, and have you seen that meme of, like, the guy who's in the club, and he's, like, talking to that girl? And she's like very uninterested and he's like chewing. Yeah. It was literally that. He was talking to some like 50-year-old guy, like talking his ear off. And like the guy was like looking around trying to find any way to escape the conversation. And my mate had just cornered him somewhere.
Oh dear.
It was just talking absolute filth to him, God knows what. And we had to literally drag him away like, oh, sorry about him, And it turns out he also gave him a card as well. So
There you go.
absolute career L's from that man. He promptly left that job 3 months later. So unrelated.
On his own accord
Unrelated.
mutual termination.
And ever since then, that was my first ever corporate Christmas party. And ever since then, I'm like, I'm never getting that
Out to lunch.
hammered.
It's good. You learned a lesson of
I
someone
learned a
else's
lesson. I learned a lesson.
mistakes.
You know what they say? They say, intelligent people learn from their own mistakes, but wise people learn from the mistakes of others.
That's good.
But speaking of not learning mistakes, I embarrassed myself by abusing the bar tab at an office party.
It's never goes well. That never goes well, my friend.
Look, I have a principle when it comes to these work offsites. Free food, free drinks. It would be rude to say no, and it would be rude to consistently say no, but also I have to say yes at a very efficient pace. I've got to gather as much as I can. It's a long rule, but that's what I stand
Indulge
by.
yourself.
Exactly. It's one where the 7 deadly sins become 6 deadly sins because gluttony is no longer there. That's what I say. Anyway, it was this like, it was a small team. It was around 40 or 50 people, went to like some some bar essentially that we booked, and they had the frozen drinks which were worth the most. Mm-hmm. I think it was around $22, I believe. That was the price of one. It was a frozen margarita.
You scout the menu beforehand just to see what to get?
That's exactly what I did.
Oh my
That's exactly what I did.
God.
I looked around because they were offering, like, I saw people getting beers and I was like, come on.
Waste.
Low value item.
You get a beer on
honestly.
your own time with your own money.
Exactly, yeah. Or I could just get it off someone else. Like, that's just how beers are by themselves. So I looked at the menu and I was like, I see the slushy machine. They're available? Bartender's like, oh, absolutely. We've got 2 flavors if you like. Oh, one of each would be great. Thank you very much. Just want to try them. That's it. I got both, sat down, smashed them, and then eventually the rule came in, only 1 drink per person. Because a few people were doing that. And I was like, no problems. Thankfully, some new team members had started that week. And so to the new team members, I was like, look, lovely to meet you. If you don't mind me, just get me one of those drinks and we can have a chat. Mm-hmm. Did that to 3 people. They got frozen slushies. They came back within 5 minutes, which is perfect timing, one must say. And I had around 4 frozen margaritas there on my.
At one
So you were quadruple parked.
Quadruple parked.
That was good. I got to use these drinks, man. I got to absolutely use them.
They're not going
Within
anywhere.
reason.
No, it was only like one like they weren't refilling it. That was
okay.
it.
It was just one machine.
Exactly.
Dude, but
That's
it's
just gluttonous.
I said that's what I said. The one sin doesn't exist.
But just
You know?
quietly, like frozen margaritas,
Yeah.
they're good drinks, but like you can't drink 4
You
of them. It's
can't-
too
you
much.
can't drink them
It's too
quickly.
No,
cold.
but I had like time in between.
Yeah, by the time you get to the 4th one, it's just
Liquid.
It's diluted.
Yeah, but I had time in between. I didn't just have 4 like planted, like
Oh, okay.
there.
I was led to believe you were
no,
quadruple
no.
Yeah,
parked.
I thought you had all 4 in front of you.
No. Like, I mean, I had 4 empty cups in front of me at one point in time, but like,
so you didn't have 4 full slushies in front of you at one time.
So you're just using your new employees as waiters and waitresses
Correct.
to just come and hand deliver when you
In
finish.
exchange for what? Your wisdom about your company.
No, I was just like, look, man, it's nice to meet you. And then I just didn't talk to them.
And then you click their fingers and just, you know what the
Off you go.
drill is.
go.
Yeah.
Refill.
Anyway, I had used it enough that eventually the manager came up and was like, hey, someone's ordering a lot of these slushies. Our bar tabs quickly run out. And I had quickly stacked my cups, put them on the ground. I was like, oh, which fucking idiot's doing this? Huh? Which hooligan is this? Let's find him and put him down in this place. Obviously, it was me. No one had found that out, though, thankfully, that night.
Push. I'm going to be the first one to tell you.
Yeah.
He knew.
He knew?
He knew it was you.
Maybe he knew.
That was his subtle way of telling you to knock it off.
Potentially. But yeah, it went all the way around. They were like, look, this person's abusing the bar tab. Like, just keep him off. And I was like, yeah, whoever that person is, just...
You'll help them find them.
Yeah,
It's a witch hunt.
I'll help him find
And you were
100%.
probably saying this so slurred as well. Just barely sitting on your seat.
I was like that guy, arm around someone. Yeah, who is this guy, man? We'll find him. Anyway, I went downstairs and then that's where the food was coming, downstairs.
Here we go.
And I saw a group of people there, chicken wings, and I was like, let's get a couple more, fellas. Why not?
Treat yourself.
Chicken wings, let's get like some nice burgers, get some chips, let's get them all in.
Don't mind if I do.
They all came in and we sat down, had a nice feast, and then it was like someone's ordered a bunch of food as well that came later, and I quickly ran away from that table. Don't know who did it. Got to spread the bar tab
Honestly,
evenly.
I don't see what's wrong with what
It's
you
fair
did.
game.
I think it was fair game, and I was like, yeah, of course, no worries. But I didn't feel any like qualms about it. I was like, oh, I don't give a fuck.
Because like when I'm at restaurants and stuff with when my work's paying, you best believe I will be ordering a pricey steak
Yeah,
that I would not usually get.
exactly.
You do know I'm checking the wine list to see, what do I not normally get?
Didn't you go to a fancy restaurant the other day, Megs?
Yeah,
Rana?
man.
Mate,
Yeah,
surely
how was
you're
that?
cleaning them all up.
Nah, a set menu. Good set
Still
menu.
pretty good.
There you
They
go.
asked, does anyone want oysters? I hate oysters, but I will absolutely take 2.
But like that was the principle that I lived by, and I still do to this day. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'll check the menu before I go out to dinner.
But I'll try to order the most expensive drink or the most fancy drink.
I usually won't go the most expensive item. I'll go the one below that.
Okay.
Because the most expensive item I feel like is a slap in the face. It's like people know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you're ordering the spatchcock for $75 when there's a steak for $100, then you look like a bit of a hero because you
Yeah.
enjoy spatchcocks.
Yeah, but then what else? What if everyone else is ordering the fish and chips for $30? You know what I mean? You're ordering last and everyone's ordered fish and chips, fucking garlic bread.
No, I still put it in there regardless.
I'm going for it
Shameless.
as well. Good stuff, bro.
I saw the most despicable act at my work offsite. I was working at a tech company at the time, and every year for the salespeople, they take them over to the States. So we all got taken to Orlando, Florida.
Wow.
Must be nice.
Wow.
That was the trip actually, Migs, that I stopped over in Amsterdam and we Had a little bit of a ball.
You know, we saw the sights.
All the sites, yeah. So
We saw more sites than there were available.
actually, just quickly, just
Interesting.
a quick tangent to that, right?
All right.
because work was like, okay, we're going to take you to Florida. And I remember walking down the road and I was like, just missing my time in the Netherlands on exchange. I was just like, man, I wish I could go back. So I went and I was like, oh, maybe I can go catch a flight via Amsterdam to Orlando.
Completely out of the way.
Completely out of the way, right? Turns out there was a flight. And I was like, oh, mate, no dramas. And it was under $4,000, which is what the budget was for the flights.
Oh, yeah.
And I knew Migs was in Leeds at the time. And so I just put out the call. I was like, brother, would you be keen to go to Amsterdam on those specific dates that I had to be there?
Yeah.
Turns out this guy was already going to Amsterdam on those dates.
Mate, the stars aligned.
The stars aligned beautifully. Anyways, whatever. That was a quick aside. So I jump on the flight to Orlando. We get there. All right. Night number 1, everyone's just partying. Everyone's just having a good old time. Drinks are flowing. Everything's going well. And because all the salespeople from all across the globe were there, it was just like a big, and sales is very incestuous. And it's like, honestly, it's pretty loose, very loose. Because most of these people, you know, they're not the smartest bunch and they're just there to have a good time. So one of my colleagues, he's married. And I see him take off his wedding ring.
Oh no,
In the club.
This story is not going to end well.
And I'm just seeing him. And by the way, his wife is pregnant at home.
Oh, Jesus.
And he's taken off his wedding ring and he's just chatting up mad girls. And I'm sitting there like, dude, this is just
Content for my podcast.
Write it down.
I was just like, this is the most heinous act of all time.
Stereotypical, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Goes out on a work thing.
Pregnant wife at home, you know, wedding ring comes off, it all.
Oh, but I thought that was like what they do in movies. They take the
Yeah,
wedding
that's what I was
ring.
going to say. It's like the start of a movie scene.
So
this.
dramatic.
This guy's just taking his gold ring off and then he's just going, I mean, and this is the thing. He struck out. He just, I
Can't
mean,
even-
which is a good thing, I suppose.
Yeah, obviously.
But I'm just saying, like, the guy is like striking out deluxe because he's like in his mid 40s and he's trying to, you know, turn on the charm with all these like 25-year-old chicks and just having no luck with his pregnant wife at home. So tell me, is that not the most despicable thing you've heard of?
Yeah.
It is.
And Rose, just very quickly, because you are the good citizen, you of course told him, look, mate, this is not the right behavior. Let's put that wedding ring back on and we'll take you back home, right?
Look, I would have done that if I was, you know, of a greater tenure. This guy was a boss,
Yeah.
and I'm not going to sit here on my high horse as a 21-year-old
Fair
That's
enough.
fair.
Yeah.
telling a 43-year-old my boss to put his wedding ring back on. You know, that's a bit of a-
Morality has no limits, mate. You know, right is right.
Yeah.
Look, his relationship with his wife is unfortunately none of my business.
None of your business.
Yeah,
Do you know
true.
this guy? Like, do you work with him, or is it just someone you know?
No, it's
of?
just someone I know of. in the
Then you
company.
have no due diligence here.
Exactly. There we go.
But you reckon if it was your coworker or your direct manager?
Even then, I probably wouldn't.
Even if you're your manager.
Yeah, because like, dude, the power imbalance is so great.
Yeah, true.
For what? Why am I being a hero to his wife that I don't know when he could literally ruin my career?
That's true.
That's like the stakes at hand. Like, as bad as that may sound.
Oh, what if your level seniority?
Yeah, that's fine. Then I'll tell him. I'll be like, bro, you know,
Calm
don't be
down.
doing this.
Yeah.
It's just the
be doing
it's just the power imbalance. Like,
Yeah. So morality does have limits. It does.
I've never said otherwise.
it does when his dollars are on the line.
Yeah, true. Okay.
Alrighty, one more from me this week. Did we take this work party too far because we got security called on us and it had to be shut down? All right, so this is an offsite last year. Just a quick aside, this was one where I didn't know if I was going to go because the week before our offsite, 3-day offsite, I got COVID. So I was on the roast, but this is when, you know, old New South Wales was loosening up. You didn't,
Yeah.
I think at this point you didn't even need to test anymore, some shit, right? But I stayed my 7 days. On the 7th day was the second day of this work event. So I was going to join halfway through, right? Quick aside. So thank God for the timing. So I come to this work event halfway through. First day was all right, whatever. It's when the work stuff was happening, you know, the workshops, you know, you do the actual, you know, workshops and you work around. Second day onwards, mate, we're in the Hunter Valley. We've got the whole resort. You know, that's when you start to enjoy the golf course, a bit of archery, a bit of wine tasting, a bit of this, bit of that. And then second night as well as our work party. So we have the whole venue there, the main hall area, have a work party, you know, unlimited wine as you should in the Hunter Valley, beers and all that, right? And then after party, of course, you know, there's the whole company's there, right? So someone's like, fuck, let's go back to mine for afters. All right. Turns out this guy brought his DJ decks. All right. He brought his decks. He brought some speakers and someone else brought a strobe light. So, mate, it was kicking off. And mind you, this is like a resort where different people have different places. So we've booked out like half of this massive venue. Everyone has their own rooms and stuff. So imagine that, like 100 people going into a room for like fucking 3 people. Of course, it's a bit heinous, right? So like, I make my way there, and then don't want to point fingers, but there might be some nefarious activities been going on in the shadows. You know, people have brought other stuff. I don't know what they've brought, but you know,
Light narcotics,
exactly, potentially, allegedly, things are going on, right? So I go in there, mate. It's like sardines. You literally can't fucking move. Everyone's sweating, but it's still a good time, right? The tunes are blaring, whatever.
Yeah.
Everyone's having a good time. It's fucking packed. They've opened up. So it's like a villa, right? So you have a whole little house, essentially.
Yeah.
They've opened up the back door so people could fucking breathe, right? So people could stand. And then, you know, it's kicking off, tunes are vibing, everyone's vibing. And then like an hour later, security rolls up on us. And then sternly tells us, you need to shut this down or else you're getting kicked out, right?
Wow.
So it turns out the music was so loud, you could hear it from across, there was a pond. You could hear it across the pond in like reception. And then you could fucking see this one house is strobing, bro. So, yeah, we had to shut it down.
Yeah.
And then the next day, we got a stern email, everyone saying, no parties allowed, no DJ decks allowed, none of this, you know, past this time, you shouldn't be loud, etc.
Yeah.
And then lo and behold, this year, no offsite. So
Oh, mate.
That's a rookie mistake. The person who set it all up, because like the thing with afters is it's got to be away from where the offsite happened or where the corporate event happened. So there's no link.
the thing is, it was like distance. It was away. I had to walk like 5-10 minutes from the venue to
On
get
the
here.
premises, mate.
Bro's walking 400 meters.
Yeah, but we
but
had
you guys-
nothing outside this resort. So
Dude,
like,
the Hunter Valley, bro, it's a desolate area. Like, you haven't hired an Airbnb. They've just gone into the accommodation. Fair play. Honestly, respect to the blokes who... Because you don't think that by playing loud music, you're not going to have an offsite next year. You're just,
Yeah,
you know,
that's true.
You're just thinking the company's
Slap
going
on
to
the
send you an
wrist,
email
maybe.
being
Yeah.
like, hey, boys, next offsite, maybe don't have a party till 2 a.m. Do you know what I mean?
you know what the fucked up thing is? The CEO was at the party having a good time as well. So like, what's going on?
Yikes,
That's a
dude.
bit weird. Yeah, that's a bit odd.
Dude, who are these heroes? These absolute legends
Yeah, that's
bringing
sick.
DJ decks and strobe lights.
Pre-planned, bro. That's class. That's pure class from them. They must have had a chat before, like,
They have
I'll
to
bring the
be planning
decks,
it.
you bring the lights.
Otherwise-
Sesh demons.
Sesh gremlins.
Someone allegedly brought the narcotics. potentially.
Alleged.
Who knows?
I don't know about
No,
that.
otherwise you're just a bloke bringing a strobe light to an offside, which is just beyond the realms of normal.
I was panicking at first because before this happened, everyone's like, afters at Migs. I'm like, fuck no. Hundreds of years are not going into my temporary residence. And thank God some heroes had some DJ decks and took the bullet for everyone.